You may think you are walking toward abundance, but if the path beneath your feet is not the one ordained by divine law, every step you take will only carry you deeper into the wilderness of lack. You can walk faster, you can strain harder, you can call it progress, but speed on the wrong road is only a swifter arrival at disappointment. I must confront you with a truth that will shake the illusion you may have been carrying for years. Abundance is not at the far end of a long, grueling climb. Abundance is not something you must chase, grasp for, or outwork everyone else to obtain. Abundance is not a prize for the most exhausted laborer. Abundance is your divine inheritance, and it is already on its way to meet you, if you will stop running in the wrong direction and align yourself with the true path that has been prepared for you from the beginning. Hear me when I say, you are not chasing abundance. Abundance is chasing you. But if you are turned the wrong way, you will never meet it. This is the lie we expose today. That constant struggle, ceaseless hustle, and relentless effort are the hallmarks of the prosperous life. They are not. They are the hallmarks of a traveler lost on the detour of self-effort, moving further from the ordered way of divine supply. The true path is not paved with strain. It is illumined by divine direction. On this path, every step is ordered, every turn is timed, every provision is already waiting at the appointed place. I declare this now, not only for myself, but for you who are hearing my voice. I walk the true divine path where all supply meets me without delay. This is not a wish. This is not an experiment. This is the law of God applied to the map of your life. When you walk in alignment with divine direction, you cannot be led astray. Your supply cannot miss you, nor can you miss it, for the law itself ensures the meeting. Today, we will strip away the false trails. We will lift the fog that has made the path appear hidden. We will set your feet on the road that is straight, clear, and blessed. And you will walk it with the assurance that every step carries you not toward lack, but into the full, overflowing manifestation of your abundance. There is a law that governs the way of your life, just as surely as there is a law that governs the rising and setting of the sun, the pull of the tide, the steady orbit of the planets. It is the law of divine direction, and it is as unerring as the compass that points always to true north. Scripture says, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." Not some of your ways, not only the important decisions, not only when you are in trouble, but in all thy ways. This is the sacred condition of the law, acknowledgement of God's presence and authority in every step you take. It is the simple, continuous turning of your inner ear toward the divine voice, the quiet willingness to be led rather than to force your own way. Picture yourself with a compass in hand, standing in a vast forest. Around you are countless trails, some wide and inviting, others narrow and hidden. Without the compass, you could wander for hours, even years, circling the same ground, mistaking movement for progress. You might choose a road that appears promising, but ends in a thicket of frustration. You might double back on yourself without realizing it, telling yourself that next time will be different. But when you hold the divine compass, when you walk by the law of divine direction, you cannot be misled. It will always point you toward the treasure, the destination where your supply, your health, your relationships, your perfect work are already prepared. This law does not speak in confusion or contradiction. Its language is peace. Its signals are clarity, inward assurance, and the sense of rightness that comes when you are moving in harmony with your true good. The world will try to tempt you with shortcuts, with detours disguised as golden opportunities, with loud voices urging you down paths that belong to others. But the law of divine direction is never hurried, never pressured, never unclear. It leads with precision, even if the next step it shows you is small. And every small step taken in obedience to divine prompting is part of a great and perfect sequence, leading you unfailingly to the abundance that already has your name on it. Miss the compass, and you will walk in circles. You will repeat lessons that were meant to be mastered long ago. You will mistake busyness for blessing, but honor the compass. Acknowledge God in every decision, every meeting, every venture, and you will find yourself continually in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, receiving the right resources, and moving with a grace that the world will call luck, but which you will know as divine law. And the beauty of this law is that it does not require you to strain for the next 10 miles. It only asks you to take the step you are shown today, trusting that the one who guides you sees the end from the beginning. If the law of divine direction is the compass, then your task is to hold it steady and keep your gaze upon it, no matter what distractions rise around you. Alignment with the divine compass does not happen once in a lifetime. It is a daily, hourly, moment-by-moment act of choosing to acknowledge the guidance of God above the noise of appearances, opinions, and personal will. Scripture makes no secret of the formula. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. This acknowledgement is not a hurried prayer offered only in crisis. It is a continuous recognition that there is an intelligence, a perfect order, a loving mind that knows the path better than you know your own next step. To align with this compass, you must begin each day with the spoken word that sets your inner direction. Divine order governs my path. I cannot be led astray. Speak it before you rise from your bed. Speak it as your feet touch the floor. Feel it not as a request, but as a decree, a law already in operation. This statement is not a wish for things to turn out well. It is the recognition that the law is already guiding you, and that nothing, no circumstance, no error, no misstep can divert you from the course prepared for you. Throughout the day, reinforce this alignment in every decision, great or small. When faced with a choice, whether to accept an invitation, invest in a venture, or even how to order your time, pause and speak the acknowledgement. Divine order governs my path. Then listen, not with anxious strain, but with calm expectation, for the inward nudge, the subtle lift of peace, or the quiet tightening of unease that signals whether to step forward or step aside. These signals are the language of the compass. Ignore them, and you will feel the drag of resistance later. Honor them, and you will walk with the strange ease that is the mark of being divinely guided. Practical alignment also means removing the habits that throw the compass needle into confusion. Complaining about the way things are, speaking in fear about the future, insisting on your own plan without consulting divine wisdom. All of these are like magnets near the compass, distorting its accuracy. Your role is not to design the map, but to follow the path as it is revealed. And here is the paradox that so few trust. The more faithfully you follow the step in front of you, the faster you arrive at the abundance you seek. So I instruct you, begin today with the spoken acknowledgement of divine order, repeat it in moments of decision, and protect it by refusing to speak words of doubt or defiance. Treat every step as a sacred appointment, every encounter as divinely timed, every turn as purposeful. In doing so, you will find that the path is not something you must discover through trial and error. It is something you are already on, guided by the unfailing compass of spirit, leading you straight into the heart of your abundance. There is a vast difference between motion and progress, between wandering in hopeful circles and walking with the calm certainty of one who knows their destination. Many live their entire lives mistaking activity for advancement, chasing opportunities not because they are divinely appointed, but because they are afraid to stand still long enough to listen. This is why the reprogramming of your mind from aimless wandering to purposeful walking is not optional. It is essential if you are to remain on the true path to abundance. The wandering mind is a scattered mind, drawn by every glittering distraction, seduced by the urgency of the moment, tossed like a ship without a rudder by the winds of outer conditions. the purposeful mind moves in a straight line, guided by the inner compass, unmoved by the false urgency of appearances. The first step in this reprogramming is to replace the inner question, "I hope I'm going the right way," with the unshakable declaration, "I am, guided unerringly to my abundance." The former statement is soaked in doubt. It is an admission of uncertainty, a seed that will grow into hesitation and second-guessing. The latter statement is rooted in divine law. It affirms that the one who directs your path cannot err, and therefore you cannot be misled. Each time you speak it, you draw your awareness back from the fog of guesswork into the clear light of spiritual certainty. This shift must happen not only in your words, but in your imagery. See yourself not as a weary traveler scanning the horizon for signs, but as a confident pilgrim moving along a sunlit road, every step aligned with the invisible grid of divine order. Imagine the road itself subtly adjusting beneath your feet to keep you on course. Detours closing before you can take them, the way ahead clearing just as you arrive. Hold this image until it becomes your default picture of life, for the subconscious accepts whatever is impressed upon it most consistently, and once it accepts the picture of you as a guided, purposeful walker, it will adjust your feelings, your choices, and even your physical steps to match it. Finally, train yourself to walk in inner stillness even as you move outwardly. Wandering is fueled by restless thought, the constant mental chatter that tries to predict, calculate, and control. Purposeful walking is fueled by a quiet, unwavering trust that you are already on the right path and that every step, no matter how ordinary it may seem, is carrying you toward your appointed good. Each time your mind tries to sprint ahead in anxiety or double back in regret, speak your decree, "I am guided unerringly to my abundance." Let it be the staff in your hand that steadies you, the lamp that lights your next step, the anchor that keeps you from drifting. In time, this reprogramming will become so complete that wandering will feel unnatural, and the only movement you will know is the steady, ordered walk of one who has found, and keeps to, the true path. The law of non-resistance is one of the most liberating principles you will ever learn on your journey to abundance, for it is the law that removes the heavy, exhausting friction from your steps. Scripture tells us, "Agree with thine adversary quickly." And in that brief command lies a key that will keep you from being diverted off the true path. To agree, in this sense, does not mean to condone wrong or to submit to injustice. It means to remove your inner opposition to the facts of the present moment so that you can move with the law instead of against it. Resistance is the stubborn, clenched posture of mind and heart that insists things must change before you can proceed. Non-resistance is the open, flowing posture that says, "I move forward in peace regardless of what appears before me." Picture the true path to your abundance as a smooth road stretching before you. Along the way, you encounter stones, branches, perhaps even a sudden stream crossing the way. Resistance is the act of standing before the stone and cursing it, refusing to move until it somehow vanishes. You waste precious energy in indignation, delay yourself in futile argument, and in the meantime, the flow of supply that was meeting you just beyond the next bend is held back. Non-resistance is the act of stepping lightly around the stone, moving through the stream, or, if required, gently clearing the branch with no inner disturbance. You remain in motion, and in doing so, you remain in alignment with divine timing. When you resist, you create a fork in the road, a detour of your own making that leads into frustration and delay. The adversary in this law is not necessarily a person. It may be a circumstance, a condition, or even a memory that provokes irritation or fear. The more you push against it, the more it pushes back, for resistance is a magnet for prolonged struggle. But the moment you release the inner tension and say, "Divine order governs this too. I meet it with peace and keep walking," you disarm the adversary and dissolve its power to hinder you. I have seen lives change almost overnight when this law is applied. a woman fighting bitterly with a business partner found herself mired in endless disputes, contracts stalled, opportunities slipping away. When she decided to practice non-resistance, not surrendering her rights, but surrendering her inner battle, the tension dissolved. The partner unexpectedly stepped away from the venture, and the very next week, a new alliance formed that doubled her income within months. The road had been cleared, not by force, but by flow. Non-resistance keeps you on the illuminated track, free from the diversions of quarrel, complaint, and inner warfare. It allows divine law to work without interference, moving circumstances into alignment while you keep your focus on the destination. And perhaps most importantly, it preserves your peace, because on the true path to abundance, peace is not a luxury. It is the atmosphere in which abundance grows. Resistance is the fork that takes you off the path. Non-resistance is the bridge that carries you smoothly forward. To dissolve resistance, you must first recognize it not as a noble stand for your rights, nor as proof of strength, but as a subtle enemy of your own progress. Resistance disguises itself well. It can sound like moral conviction. It can feel like self-protection. It can masquerade as fighting for what is mine. Yet under the lens of divine law, resistance is simply the locking of your will against the natural flow of supply. It is a wall you build with your own thoughts, blocking the very good you are praying for. Dissolving resistance does not mean abandoning discernment or accepting injustice. It means refusing to let any outward condition steal your inner poise or stop your forward motion on the path God has set before you. The first tool I give you is the spoken command. Every obstacle on my path melts into perfect order now. Say it aloud, slowly, as if your words carried the very heat that dissolves the ice of opposition. Feel the wall of resistance softening at your decree. You are not addressing people or pleading with circumstances. You are speaking directly to the pattern in consciousness that has been holding the obstacle in place. Divine law responds instantly to a command rooted in faith, for it recognizes authority in the voice that speaks in harmony with truth. The second step is to replace the clenched posture of reaction with the open posture of acceptance. Not acceptance of defeat, but acceptance of the present moment as the ground upon which divine order will work. The instant you say, "This too is under the government of God," you shift from resisting life to cooperating with it. In that cooperation, you free the law to rearrange events, reconfigure relationships, and clear the way without your constant interference. Let me give you an example. A man once came to me whose long-awaited promotion was suddenly blocked by a political shift in his company. He was furious, ready to wage a verbal war against those he believed were opposing him. I told him instead to practice non-resistance. Each morning, he affirmed, "Every obstacle on my path melts into perfect order now." Within weeks, the very executives who had overlooked him were reorganized out of his department, and he was offered a role with greater pay and freedom than the one he had been fighting for. His success came not from pushing harder, but from stepping into the flow where divine law could act without obstruction. Resistance binds you to the thing you are resisting. Non-resistance releases it, and you with it. Speak your command often, especially in moments when you feel the old impulse to push, argue, or control. See the obstacle melting like wax under a steady flame. Feel the road clearing beneath your feet. And remember, you are not here to batter your way through life. You are here to walk in the ordered ease of one who knows that nothing on the true path can truly oppose them. Struggle is not a sign of virtue. It is a symptom of misalignment. Many have been taught to glorify the grind, to wear exhaustion as a badge of honor, to equate endless striving with worthiness. But divine law does not reward strain. It responds to faith, receptivity, and alignment. When you live in struggle, you are fighting the current of the very river that is meant to carry you. When you live in flow, you allow that current to do its work, guiding you effortlessly toward your abundance. Mental reprogramming from struggle to flow is not about becoming passive. It is about becoming synchronized with the movement of spirit so that your actions are supported by divine power rather than driven by human will alone. The first step in this reprogramming is to catch the words that anchor you to the energy of struggle. The moment you hear yourself saying, "Why is this so hard?" you must replace it with, "I move with ease toward my abundance." The old question invites frustration, keeps you focused on difficulty, and tells your subconscious to expect more of the same. The new statement opens the channel for grace, tells your mind to look for ease, and reorients your vibration toward cooperation with the law rather than resistance to it. Visualization will help to seal this shift. Each morning, see yourself walking on a smooth, illuminated road. There are no sharp turns that take you by surprise, no hidden pits to trap your feet, no heavy loads on your back. The road rises gently under your steps, and the light before you reveals exactly where to go. This imagery is not fantasy. It is a spiritual blueprint that your subconscious will begin to reproduce in your outer life. Every time you hold this picture, you are impressing upon your mind the expectation of flow, and the mind, being obedient to expectation, will guide your choices and perceptions to fulfill it. You will find that as you practice this shift, even tasks that once felt heavy will take on a sense of ease. Opportunities will arrive without the exhausting chase. People will appear at the right time with exactly what you need. And perhaps most importantly, you will begin to enjoy the journey itself, for flow turns each step into a joy instead of a trial. You will come to understand that abundance is not only the destination, but the atmosphere through which you travel to reach it. Say it with me now. I move with ease toward my abundance. Let it roll through you like a gentle stream, carrying away the grit of struggle and replacing it with the clarity of flow. Let it become your answer to every challenge, your instinctive response to every demand. For when the mind is trained to expect ease, the path reshapes itself to deliver it, and you will walk as one carried by the current of divine order straight into the heart of your good. For the next 7 days, I am challenging you to live as though the concept of obstacles no longer exists in your vocabulary, in your thinking, or in your speech. This is not a test of endurance. It is a test of mastery. For 1 full week, you will refuse to give resistance the power of your words. You will speak only of the smoothness of your path, the ease of your progress, the certainty of your destination. If an apparent block arises, you will not name it a block. You will call it a bridge in the process of appearing, a divine detour leading you to something even better than you imagined. This discipline is not about denying reality. It is about redefining it through the lens of truth. Here is how you will keep this vow. From the moment you wake each day, declare aloud, "Every step I take is guided, every turn is timed, and my path is clear." Say it before you even rise from your bed, setting the tone for the hours ahead. As you move through the day, listen closely to your own speech. If you hear yourself start to describe something as hard, blocked, delayed, or stuck, stop immediately and replace it with a declaration of flow. This too is moving me forward. This too is part of my perfect path. You will be amazed at how quickly your outer conditions respond when your words stop reinforcing struggle and begin reinforcing smooth progress. For these 7 days, you will become a guardian at the gate of your mind. The image of a smooth, illuminated road will be your constant companion. See yourself walking it in every situation, whether in traffic, in a meeting, or in your own thoughts late at night. That road is your true path, and in the reality of divine law, nothing can litter it, nothing can block it, nothing can delay you upon it. If something appears in the way, see it dissolve into light, or see yourself gracefully moving around it, untouched in your pace and undisturbed in your spirit. I will warn you, the first days may reveal how deeply the language of struggle has woven itself into your habits. You may be tempted to justify why you have to talk about problems, delays, or obstacles. Resist that temptation, for this is the very habit we are breaking. You will find that as the week progresses, the pull toward complaint weakens, and the joy of speaking only of progress strengthens. You will begin to see outer confirmations, calls return sooner than expected, opportunities opening without effort, solutions appearing without strain. At the end of the 7 days, you will look back and see that you have not only kept yourself in a higher state of consciousness, but you have also trained your mind to default to flow instead of friction. And once the mind is trained this way, the path to abundance becomes not only smoother, but shorter. So I challenge you now, take the 7-day flow test. Guard your words, guard your thoughts, and walk as one who believes, beyond question, that the road to their abundance is already clear. The law of assumption is the unseen architect of your reality, quietly shaping every step of your path to match the inner identity you have accepted as true. Scripture declares, "All things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive." Believing is not mere hope, it is assumption. It is the mental and emotional act of receiving before the form appears, of walking in the inner certainty that your desire is already an accomplished fact. This law operates without hesitation. It mirrors back to you whatever you have most deeply assumed about yourself and your life, whether that assumption is one of abundance or of lack. Think of assumption as slipping into the shoes of the person who has already arrived at their destination. You do not keep glancing down at your feet to question whether the shoes fit. You wear them naturally, move in them without self-consciousness, and go about your business as if they have always been yours. The moment you assume the identity of one who already possesses abundance, the path beneath you begins to rearrange itself to match that identity. People, opportunities, and resources are drawn into your experience, not because you chase them, but because you became the person to whom such things naturally belong. Yet many sabotage this law by living in the contradiction between desire and identity. They say, "I want abundance," but their inner language is soaked with struggle, their posture is hesitant, their decisions are made from a place of scarcity. The law cannot deliver to you what you continually deny through your own self-image. To walk the true path, you must make the inner shift first, become in consciousness what you desire to be in form. This is why assumption must be practiced deliberately. In the morning, before you face the demands of the day, step into the feeling of the abundant self. Ask, if I already had the life I desire, how would I think, walk, speak, and decide today? Then do those things, not in pretense, but in faithful embodiment of the truth that you are aligning with. The law will take care of the outer details once the inner position is fixed. And here is the beauty. The moment you assume abundance, you will begin to see signs, not because the outer has suddenly changed overnight, but because your perception has. You will notice opportunities you once overlooked, meet people you once passed by, hear ideas you once dismissed. These are not accidents. They are the first visible footprints of a path that is rearranging itself to bring you into the full manifestation of what you have already assumed. So take up the shoes of the abundant self and wear them without hesitation. Walk as if you have already arrived. Speak as if your supply is already in hand. Decide as if there is no possibility of lack. For in the realm of the law of assumption, the one who assumes has already received, and the true path to abundance is simply the unfolding of what is already yours. To assume the abundant self is to make a conscious, deliberate choice to step out of the identity of the seeker and into the identity of the possessor. It is to lay down the weary garments of trying, waiting, and hoping, and to clothe yourself in the regal attire of one who already lives in the manifestation of their desire. This is not an exercise in fantasy. It is the deliberate alignment of thought, word, and action with the truth of your being. You are not pretending, you are revealing. You are not forcing, you are allowing the self that already exists in divine mind to stand forth in you. The command you will use to anchor this identity is simple yet absolute. I walk today as the one who has already arrived. You will speak it in the morning before you leave your bed. You will speak it before each decision, and you will speak it whenever the old self attempts to reassert itself. When you walk into a room, you will walk with the posture of one whose needs are already met. When you speak, your tone will carry the quiet confidence of one who draws from an inexhaustible source. When you plan, you will plan from the premise that the resources are already in place, the way is already open, and the outcome is already assured. To strengthen this assumption, engage in a brief daily visualization. Close your eyes and see yourself moving through a day in your abundant life. Not a day of extraordinary events, but an ordinary day in which abundance is simply the air you breathe. Notice the home you wake in, the way you carry yourself, the kinds of conversations you have, the choices you make without hesitation. Observe the ease with which you give and receive. Let your senses be engaged, the feel of the fabrics you wear, the scent of the spaces you inhabit, the taste of the food you enjoy. This is not daydreaming. It is impressing upon your subconscious the reality you are choosing to embody. As you practice, you may feel the old self tugging at your sleeve, whispering doubts or reminding you of appearances that seem to contradict your assumption. This is where your discipline in the spoken word comes in. You do not debate with the old self, you override it. You say, I walk today as the one who has already arrived, and you keep walking. Each repetition is a stroke of the chisel removing the stone of false identity until the figure of the abundant self stands revealed in full. The more consistently you walk in this assumption, the more natural it will become, and soon you will find that the line between acting as if and living as dissolves entirely. The law will begin to arrange circumstances to match your stance. People will treat you according to the authority you project. Resources will align themselves with your new position. For the law is faithful to its own nature. It cannot give you what you have not yet assumed, but it will unfailingly give you what you claim in consciousness as already yours. Seeking is the posture of the unfulfilled. It is the attitude that says, I am here, my good is there, and I must somehow bridge the distance. It is a stance that, though often clothed in spiritual language, keeps the consciousness locked in separation from the very abundance it longs for. Possessing, on the other hand, is the state of rest that comes from knowing you already have what the world says you are chasing. In truth, in divine mind, nothing is withheld from you. All good exists now, whole and complete, and the only shift required is for you to stop living as the one who is trying to get it and to begin living as the one who already holds it. This reprogramming begins by catching the subtle ways seeking seeps into your thoughts and words. Phrases like, I'm trying to get there, or I hope it happens soon, are signals that you are still identifying as the seeker. Each time they arise, replace them immediately with the decree, I am here now. This is not a geographical statement. It is a spiritual fact. Here in the presence of God, in the flow of divine law, your abundance already exists. You are not on the way to it. You are standing in it, and your task is not to travel, but to recognize. To reinforce this recognition, use the shoes metaphor we have explored before. Close your eyes and see yourself stepping into the shoes of the one who already possesses the abundance you desire. Feel the fit. Walk around in them. Notice how decisions are easier, how generosity comes naturally, how there is no rush or panic, only deliberate, confident movement. When you open your eyes, carry that feeling with you into your real-world steps, letting it inform how you speak, how you respond, and how you approach every opportunity. This shift from seeking to possessing will also require you to let go of certain habits. Stop rehearsing your lack in conversation. Stop measuring the distance between where you are and where you want to be. Stop looking for constant signs that it is coming, as though the manifestation were still out of reach. Instead, look for ways to use what you already have as a millionaire in consciousness. Give generously from your current supply. Speak from the position of one whose life is already full. Make decisions based on trust rather than fear. These acts of possession instruct your subconscious to align your outer reality with your inner stance. Over time, this reprogramming will become self-sustaining. You will no longer have to remind yourself to stop seeking. The identity of the possessor will feel so natural that the thought of chasing after your goodwill seem absurd. And as your inner reality solidifies, the law will have no choice but to arrange the outer in harmony with it. For in the realm of spirit, the one who knows they already have will always see that truth reflected in form, and the true path to abundance will reveal itself not as a road to be traveled, but as the ground you are already standing on. I now give you a challenge that will bring this teaching out of the realm of concept and into the realm of living demonstration. For one full day, 24 hours without pause or exception, you are to walk, speak, decide, and respond as the abundant self you have claimed in consciousness. This is not a trial run. This is not a costume you put on for a few hours to see how it feels. This is a day in which you fully inhabit the role of the one who has already arrived, the one whose every need is met, whose supply is constant, whose good is flowing without interruption. It is a deliberate step into the atmosphere of your fulfilled life. From the moment you wake, the first words on your lips will be, "I am living in my abundance now." Let that be the key that opens the door to the day. Dress yourself as the one who possesses wealth, not necessarily in luxury, but in care, dignity, and confidence. Choose your clothing, your grooming, your posture, and your movements with the quiet authority of one who knows their value. When you speak to others, speak from a place of generosity, without fear of giving too much of yourself, whether in time, attention, encouragement, or material means. When decisions arise, make them as one who is never limited by lack, but who is guided by wisdom and ease. Throughout the day, notice the subtle tests that will come. Perhaps a bill arrives, or an unexpected expense is mentioned, or someone complains about money in your presence. These are not accidents. They are invitations to either step back into the old identity of the seeker or to remain steadfast in your abundant stance. Choose the latter. When such moments arise, silently affirm, "I walk in abundance now. My supply is unbroken and unending." Let your composure and peace be the proof to yourself that your inner shift is genuine. Do not spend this day scanning the horizon for proof that the exercise is working. That is the reflex of the seeker. Instead, give your attention entirely to the experience of living in abundance now. If you go to the store, move through the aisles as one who can buy anything they truly need or desire. If you sit down to plan, let your ideas expand without the restraint of, "Can I afford it?" or "What if the money doesn't come?" If you speak to a friend, speak from the perspective of someone whose blessings overflow so greatly they cannot help but share. When the day ends, reflect on how you moved, how you felt, and how others responded to you. You will likely notice that the world mirrored back to you the stance you held within. Opportunities may have appeared. Conversations may have taken on a new tone. Even if the outer picture has not yet shifted in full, you will feel the unmistakable difference in the energy you carried. And that energy sustained is the magnet that draws the full manifestation into view. Take this challenge seriously, for one day lived in abundance can reveal more to you about the true path than months of theory. Now we seal the work we have done thus far with the rhythm and power of the spoken word, for affirmations are not mere positive sayings. They are the chisels that carve your identity into the stone of consciousness. When spoken with faith and persistence, They shape the inner image until it becomes the only reality your subconscious recognizes, and then the law must match it in form. These declarations are to be spoken with deliberate pace, letting each one settle into the core of your being before moving to the next. Feel them as living truths, not wishes. I walk the true path of abundance. See yourself on that path now, not tomorrow, not someday, but in this very moment. The light ahead reveals each step, the ground beneath is sure and steady. You are not wandering, you are arriving. Every step I take is guided. Say it knowing that you are never left to guess or grope your way forward. There is a perfect intelligence charting your course, and each movement you make is in harmony with that plan. Even apparent pauses are purposeful, even detours are divine. Obstacles dissolve before me. Let this truth dissolve every memory of struggle, every fear of delay. Visualize the path ahead, clearing like mist in the morning sun. What once seemed solid and immovable melts into nothing before the heat of your conviction. I arrive with ease and joy. You are not crawling, not dragging yourself forward, but moving in the ease of divine flow. There is joy in your step, peace in your breath, and gratitude in your heart, for you know you cannot miss your appointed good. Repeat these aloud now, with the steady cadence of one who knows they are decreeing the shape of their life. Feel the resonance in your voice, the certainty building in your chest. Say them 3 times through, each round with more conviction than the last. On the first, you speak them into your conscious mind. On the second, they sink into your subconscious. On the third, they begin to echo in the universal mind, calling forth the people, resources, and opportunities that match them. When you have finished, rest for a moment in silence. Let the words hang in the air like incense, permeating every corner of your thought. This is not empty repetition. This is spiritual architecture. And as surely as a builder's blueprint becomes a finished structure, these affirmations, held and repeated with faith, will construct in your outer life the abundant reality you have claimed within. Faith is not a passive hope for better days. It is the active, unwavering certainty that your good exists now and will appear in perfect form when you align your thought, word, and action with divine law. Scripture tells us plainly, faith without works is dead. This means that belief alone, unaccompanied by corresponding movement, is incomplete. Faith is the invisible step. The inner acceptance of your abundance is already secured. Immediate action is the visible footprint, the outer proof that you trust what you have claimed in spirit. One without the other leaves the path unfinished. Think of planting a seed. Faith is the planting itself, the confidence that this tiny kernel contains a full harvest within it. Immediate action is the watering, the clearing of weeds, the tending of the soil. Without faith, you would never plant. Without action, the seed would wither before it could grow. So it is with abundance. You declare the truth, I walk the true path of abundance, and in that moment, the seed is sown in your consciousness. But then you must take the step that matches that truth. Make the call, send the proposal, order the materials, prepare the space, because each act is a signal to the law that you are ready for manifestation. This law is precise. When you move, heaven moves with you. The smallest step taken in faith will open doors you could not have pried open through effort alone. Immediate action is not frantic doing. It is inspired doing. It is not acting in desperation to make something happen. It is acting in confidence because something has already happened in the unseen. Faith says, it is mine now. Immediate action says, I move as one who already has it. And together they create the perfect alignment for abundance to appear without delay. Yet many break this law without realizing it. They speak affirmations in the morning and then live the rest of the day as though nothing has changed, hesitating, second-guessing, waiting for a sign before they move. This is like planting a seed and then leaving it on the windowsill, hoping it will sprout without soil or water. When the Spirit has shown you even the smallest next step, take it. Do not wait for the whole plan to be revealed. The path will unfold as you walk. The law of faith and immediate action keeps your abundance from being postponed indefinitely in the realm of possibility. It brings it into the realm of actuality. Each time you pair your belief with an aligned step, you shorten the distance between your declaration and its manifestation. The true path to abundance is not a road you stare at. It is a road you walk, step by step, each footprint a living testament that you believe the promise of your own words. To act from arrival is to remove once and for all the subtle posture of waiting that delays so many manifestations. It is to cease living as though you are on the way and to begin living as though you have already stepped into the fullness of your good. In divine mind, your abundance is not pending, it is present. The only question is whether you will behave in harmony with that truth or contradict it by postponing your actions until you see the evidence. Faith demands that you move now in the manner of one who has already received. You anchor this principle with the affirmation, "I move today as one who has arrived." Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the money comes, but today. You speak it as you plan your day. You speak it as you make decisions. You speak it when an opportunity arises that would once have made you hesitate. The old self says, "I'll wait until the conditions are right." The abundant self says, "The conditions are already right because divine order governs my path." This is not recklessness. This is alignment. It is not acting without wisdom. It is acting with the wisdom of one who knows that the path will only become visible under the feet that dare to walk it. Begin by asking yourself, if my abundance were already here in full, what would I do differently today? Would you return that call immediately instead of putting it off? Would you invest in that tool, that program, that opportunity without fear? Would you speak with more confidence, walk with more certainty, give more freely? Then do those things, not to make abundance happen, but because they are the natural expressions of the one who has already arrived. Every action taken from this standpoint reinforces the truth in your consciousness, and consciousness, once convinced, will see its conviction mirrored in the outer world. A man once told me he wanted to open a studio but was waiting for the right time. I told him the right time was the moment he could take even the smallest step in alignment with his vision. He began by clearing a corner of his home and setting it up as a miniature version of the space he envisioned. He acted as though the full studio was already his, creating schedules, practicing his craft daily, and speaking of his work as a going concern. Within months, without debt or strain, the opportunity arose to move into a fully equipped studio that exceeded his original dream. His arrival in form was simply the echo of his arrival in consciousness. When you act from arrival, you refuse to postpone your good. You live inside the reality you have claimed, and that reality grows around you until it becomes undeniable. Let every step you take today testify to the truth of your abundance. Let every choice declare, "I am here, I have arrived, my supply is complete." The law will honor the stance you take, and what you have affirmed in spirit will unfold in the visible with precision and speed. Now we come to the moment where all that has been spoken, all that has been declared, all that has been impressed upon your mind, is sealed in the sacred act of public decree. You have walked the path in consciousness throughout this message. You have aligned with divine direction, removed resistance, shifted from seeking to possessing, and acted from the certainty of arrival. Now you must set your word in motion in a way that leaves no room for retreat, no shadow in which the old identity can hide. The sacred activation is your covenant with the law, a spoken and written agreement that the universe itself will honor, for it is not the agreement of man with man, but of man with God. The sacred sentence you will speak and write is this: I now step fully onto the true path of abundance. Every step reveals more supply by divine law. You will say it aloud now, not as a hopeful plea, but as the final stroke of the chisel carving your abundant identity into the stone of reality. You will feel the power in your own voice as you speak it, how it resonates in the chest, how it steadies your breath, how it leaves no trace of doubt. Then you will take the second step of the ritual. You will type these words exactly in the comments as a public proclamation. This is not a casual interaction. It is a spiritual contract. By writing it, you are anchoring it in the world of form, setting your intention where it can be seen, remembered, and reinforced. Why public? Because light dispels shadow. When you declare your truth openly, the temptation to slip back into the old pattern weakens, for you have borne witness before others, and more importantly, before yourself. It is a symbolic crossing of the threshold. You cannot go back to wandering paths once you have stepped into the illuminated road and told the universe, "This is who I am now." And as you return to this declaration tomorrow and in the days to come, you will find it has grown in strength. The first time you speak it, it may feel like a choice. The 10th time, it will feel like fact. The 100th, it will feel like the only reality you could ever have known. I urge you not to delay this act. Do not tell yourself you will write it later when it is convenient. The moment you feel the stirring in your spirit, the moment the words burn in your chest, that is the divine timing. Write it now, speak it now, stand in it now. For every instant you remain in hesitation, you are standing at the fork between the true path and the path of delay. Choose quickly, choose fully, and choose aloud. And as you do, know this: the law has heard, the law has recorded, and the law has already begun to order your steps so that every turn, every meeting, every opportunity will now bear the unmistakable mark of one who walks the true path to abundance. Now we gather every thread of truth we have spoken and weave them into a single, unbreakable cord of affirmation, a cord strong enough to hold you steady when appearances try to sway you, luminous enough to light your way when the path seems dim, and alive enough to continue creating long after these words have left my lips. These are not idle sentences, they are spiritual decrees, each one a seed planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness, guaranteed to bring forth a harvest in its own perfect time. You will speak them slowly, with full attention, letting each one saturate your mind and impress itself deeply into the silent places within. I walk the path of abundance now and forever. Let this be your first and final truth. You are not beginning someday, you are walking it now. You will not depart from it, for it is the very ground of your being. See yourself already on it, the air filled with the fragrance of completed desires, the horizon glowing with fulfilled promises. Every step I take is ordered by divine law. No step is wasted, no moment is meaningless. Even the pauses are part of the rhythm, and the rhythm is perfect. You cannot be lost, for the way itself is alive with the guidance of God. All resistance within me is dissolved. Feel the release as you say it, the unclenching of the will, the loosening of every knot of tension. See the stones and debris of the old path vanishing into light, the way before you smooth and welcoming. I possess my abundance now. This is not a claim to be fulfilled in the future. It is the recognition of what already exists in the eternal present. As you say it, let your posture change, your breath deepen, your thoughts slow to the pace of someone who has no reason to rush. I arrive with ease and joy, not in weariness, not in frustration, but in the atmosphere of celebration. The journey itself is part of the abundance, and you take pleasure in every step. Speak these affirmations 3 times through. The first time, let them settle in your conscious mind. The second time, feel them sinking deeper, bypassing the doubts of reason, imprinting themselves on the subconscious. The third time, Speak them as if you are declaring them to the universe itself, commanding every force of divine law to arrange itself in accordance with your word. And when you have finished, rest in stillness for a moment. Let the echo of your declarations fill the inner space until there is no room left for contradiction. You have spoken your truth, you have sealed your path, and you have claimed your inheritance. From this moment forward, you are not searching for the true path. You are walking it, living it, and proving it with every breath you take. And so it is.